There are many kinds of silence. There's the silence of anger, when two people wait to see who will speak first. There's the silence of pride, when neither side wants to admit fault. And then there's the silence of games, when she withholds her words just to see if you'll chase. But above them all, there is one silence greater than the rest. It is the silence that ends stories. The one that doesn't wait for a reply, doesn't ask to be broken, doesn't bargain for attention. It speaks without sound. This is over. I am done. I will not return. Brother, this silence is not born of anger or pride. It's born of awakening. The day you stop feeding a cycle that only drained you. The day you choose peace over proving your worth. The day she realizes the door you closed will not open again. Start this journey now. Like and subscribe to Stoic Station to keep building this calm, unshakable strength. Drop a 1 if you've ever felt the pull to break silence just to feel seen, or a 2 if you're ready to hold the line and reclaim your dignity tonight. Stay, because what happens when this silence finally hits her will change everything. 1. The endless loop you couldn't escape. Every toxic love story begins the same way, with a loop that feels unbreakable. You argue, you apologize, you promise to change, only to collide with the same cold disappointment. You give more than you receive, chase someone who keeps running, explain yourself to ears that were never truly listening. Deep down, you keep hoping each round will be the last, that the right words or unshakable loyalty might finally be enough. But the loop doesn't just hurt, it drains you, turning love into quiet exhaustion. The first real victory begins when you see this pattern for what it is, a cage, not destiny. Brother, the moment you decide you will no longer play this losing game is the moment your story begins to change forever. 2. Freedom begins when you change. Cycles don't break because she changes. They end because you do. You've spent years trying to earn a love that demanded your suffering as proof, but pain never buys respect and desperation never creates desire. Every unanswered text chips away at your worth until you choose peace over her reaction and dignity over her validation. Brother, the cycle ends the moment you walk away, not for her, but for you. 3. The power of final silence. Not all silence is the same, and she knows it. She's seen men go quiet just to lure her back, and she's always waited them out. But your silence now isn't a game, isn't revenge, isn't an angry pause. It's the calm decision to stop feeding what drained you dry. She expected you to flinch and return, but final silence is a line never crossed again. Brother, this is not strategy. It's self-respect in its purest form. 4. When she feels the weight of forever. At first, she laughs off your quiet, convinced you'll return like always. But days slip into weeks, weeks into months, and your name never lights her phone. Doubt creeps in, then fear. What if this time you're truly gone? Pride begins to crack beneath an absence that doesn't end. That's when your silence stops being a pause and becomes a presence. Brother, let her feel that weight. It's not punishment, it's truth arriving. 5. Stoic strength. Calm, not chaos. Real strength doesn't rage, it refuses to return. Most men storm out, shout, swear they're done, only to crawl back once emotions cool. But true finality isn't born in anger, it's born in calm clarity. You will feel the pull to explain, to prove you're right, to demand she understand what she lost. Yet every explanation reopens the door she thought she'd closed and invites you back into the same pain. Stoic strength is different. It's the quiet choice to leave without bitterness, to value peace over approval, dignity over validation. You don't slam the door, you simply walk through it and never look back. Brother, The man who walks away calmly is the man she never believed she could lose, and the one who finally wins his own freedom. 6. Mastery over attachment. Freedom isn't control over her, it's control over yourself. You once tied your worth to her response, letting every message, every glance, every delayed reply decide who you were. But no man is truly free while chained to someone else's validation. Breaking that chain hurts. Loneliness strikes like a wave. The urge to reach out can burn hotter than anger. Yet every moment you resist, every second you refuse to hand her the power to define you, you prove mastery over the one thing most men can't: their own attachment. Silence is not emptiness. It's the living proof that you are enough without her approval, her presence, or her recognition. Brother, this is freedom. The kind no one can take back once you've claimed it. The strength that transforms heartbreak into unshakable self-respect. 7. Pain that builds discipline. Silence hurts, but it forges. The first nights alone feel endless. Your chest burns with the urge to reach for your phone, to text, to break the stillness just so the loneliness will stop echoing. You feel the pull of habit, the craving for any response that will remind you you're not invisible. Yet this is where most men lose their strength. They surrender to pain and crawl back into the very cage that drained them. But pain is not your enemy. It is your test. Each urge you resist builds strength where weakness once lived. Every hour you stay silent when your heart screams to explain yourself lays another brick in the foundation of the man you're becoming. Use the ache. Don't let it use you. Lift heavier, run farther, sharpen your mind with books that grow you. Pour your energy into work and purpose instead of words she won't value. Channel the nights you can't sleep into discipline. Let every unanswered impulse fuel your rebirth. Over time, what once felt like chains becomes fire, and fire in the hands of the disciplined doesn't burn, it forges. Brother, this is how silence transforms. What began as pain becomes patience. What felt like emptiness becomes clarity. What once broke you now builds you into a man unshaken by rejection and unstoppable in his growth. Stay the course. What burns today will become the steel that protects your peace tomorrow, and that's how silence turns heartbreak into power. 8. Silence is healing, not punishment. Many think silence is revenge. They're wrong. The choice to stop speaking, to stop reaching out, to stop fighting for someone who never met you halfway is not about hurting her. It's about saving yourself. For years you tried to explain, to beg, to prove your worth to someone who could not or would not truly listen. Every long message you sent, every apology you gave, every second chance you offered slowly fractured your spirit. You poured yourself into a space that stayed empty, hoping one day your love would be enough to fill it. But the truth is, that effort only drained you. If you go back now, if you break the silence because the loneliness feels heavy or because you hope she has finally changed, you are stepping right back into the void that hollowed you out. You will keep bleeding energy, self-respect, and time into a place that cannot return it. Healing can't happen there. It requires distance, and distance requires silence. Silence is not weakness, it is medicine. Every day you stay quiet, you are stitching back the parts of yourself that were torn by constant rejection. You're learning to stand without someone else's recognition. You're training your heart to beat steady without their approval. It's the hardest thing at first. The urge to reach out can feel like it's tearing you apart. But each moment you hold the line is a step toward wholeness. You're not punishing her, you're protecting yourself. And something powerful happens as the days pass. The fog starts to lift. Your energy returns. The weight of needing someone else to validate your worth slowly falls away. You begin to invest that energy into yourself, your work, your growth, your body, your future. What once felt like silence begins to feel like space to rebuild. What felt like abandonment transforms into freedom. This is why permanent silence matters. It's not a tactic to spark regret or a trick to manipulate emotions. It's the boundary that saves your peace and gives you back control over your own life. It's the decision to stop feeding pain and start feeding healing. Brother, every day you stay quiet, you reclaim one more piece of yourself, until the man you become is stronger, calmer, and freer than the one who once begged to be seen. And that man doesn't need revenge. He only needs peace. 9. The true victory. Her regret is not the win, your freedom is. It's easy to imagine that one day she'll feel the sting of losing you and finally understand what she let go. And yes, part of you may want her to feel that loss. But if your silence is built only to make her regret, then it isn't strength. It's still dependence. The real battle was never for her approval. It was for your own peace. You spent years trying to be enough for someone who could not see your worth. You poured love, time, and energy into proving yourself, only to find yourself empty. The true test is whether you can stop seeking recognition from the one who broke you and start living for the man you're becoming. If you break silence just to prove a point, you hand back the power you fought so hard to reclaim. Every text meant to show her what she lost only pulls you back into the same cycle you fought to escape. Real victory isn't about showing her your worth, it's about knowing it, with or without her acknowledgement. It's about living a life she no longer has access to. That is where dignity lives. That is where peace begins. True victory is walking forward, building new purpose that has nothing to do with her, strengthening your body, sharpening your mind, creating a future that isn't built on trying to win someone back. It's waking up one day realizing that the silence that once felt heavy now feels like freedom, wide, calm, and yours. When you stop chasing validation, you stop living in reaction to someone else's choices. You take back your time, your focus, and your power. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you no longer need her to regret, she finally will. But by the time it happens, you won't be waiting. You'll be too busy living, growing, and becoming the man you were meant to be all along. Brother, when she finally realizes the silence is forever, you'll already be gone, not broken but rebuilt, not bitter but free. That is the quiet triumph no one can take from you. 10. Final call. Brother, if these words reach you tonight, it's because somewhere deep inside you already know the truth. You cannot keep giving pieces of yourself to someone who doesn't value them. You cannot keep explaining your worth to ears that have chosen not to hear. You cannot keep bleeding energy into a cycle that will only return you to the same pain. You've been fighting for love as if it were a battlefield where persistence would earn you peace. But all it's bought you is exhaustion. The moment you found these words, you were looking for a reason to stop. This is it. This is your sign to hold the line. There will be nights when silence feels unbearable, when your chest burns to reach out, when your mind tries to bargain with you. Maybe if I just send one more message, things will change. But brother, you've already lived that story. You know exactly how it ends. One more message doesn't bring clarity. It drags you back into confusion. One more explanation doesn't heal. It reopens the wound. One more attempt doesn't restore dignity. It trades it away. The strength you're building right now is not loud. It doesn't look like rage. It doesn't post declarations or write long speeches. It's quiet. It's calm. It's deliberate. It's the strength of a man who has finally decided to stop playing a losing game. True finality is never born from anger. It's born from clarity. It's the calm choice to stop feeding what only drains you, the quiet courage to accept that the chapter is over, even if you never got the apology you deserved. And I know this isn't easy. The loneliness can feel like a storm. Your heart will ache for closure, for recognition, for proof that walking away mattered. But listen carefully. You don't need her recognition to validate your worth. You don't need her regret to justify your healing. You don't need a response to confirm the man you're becoming. Freedom isn't found in controlling her reaction. It's found in mastering your own. Every day you hold the silence, you reclaim a piece of yourself. The man who was once defined by her attention starts to vanish, and in his place, a man rooted in self-respect begins to rise. Each urge resisted is another brick in the foundation of your new life. Each moment of stillness becomes proof that you are no longer chained to someone else's validation. You are rebuilding from the inside out, stronger, calmer, untouchable. You may wonder if she will regret losing you. Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. But that's not the point. Regret was never the real prize. Peace is. The true victory is not in watching her hurt. It's in knowing she can no longer touch the life you're building now. The real win is waking up free. Free from waiting for her texts, free from replaying arguments, free from the need to prove you were worth keeping. That freedom is what the silence is buying you, one day at a time. There is a reason the Stoics spoke of finality with such reverence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Withdraw into yourself." He understood that true strength is quiet self-command, the decision to no longer spend your life chasing what does not serve your soul. Epictetus taught that no man is free until he masters himself. This is mastery. This is you learning to hold the line even when it hurts, to choose dignity over desperation, to let go without needing applause. And something powerful begins to happen once you stop waiting for her to notice. The fog lifts. You start to see life beyond the cycle. You begin to reclaim time and energy once lost to explaining yourself. You focus on your work, your health, your craft, your mission. You feel the slow return of confidence, not the kind built on her approval, but the kind built on your own discipline. The silence that once felt heavy becomes space to grow. The absence that once felt like punishment becomes freedom. Brother, this is where your story changes. You've spent long enough fighting to be seen. Now it's time to see yourself. Build your body until you feel strong in your own skin. Build your mind until no one's rejection can shake it. Build your future until her opinion no longer has a place in it. Every time you stay silent, you invest in the man you are becoming, and that man is unstoppable. I won't pretend this road is painless. Growth never is. But the pain you feel now is not the pain of losing. It's the pain of healing. It's the discomfort of cutting old chains and learning to stand without them. It's the fire that forges steel. The more you sit with it instead of running back, the stronger you become. What once burned now shapes you. What once hollowed you out now carves room for something better. Understand this. Silence is not revenge. Revenge still needs the other person to see you. Silence, real silence, doesn't need to be witnessed to be powerful. It is not about hurting her. It's about healing you. It's about reclaiming your dignity and refusing to live dependent on someone else's approval. It's about proving to yourself that your worth doesn't rise and fall with someone who failed to value it. And here's the paradox. Once you stop needing her to regret, she finally will. When she realizes you're truly gone, when your name no longer lights her phone, when the silence stretches so long that it can't be mistaken for a tactic, the weight will hit her. But by then it won't matter. You won't be waiting on her regret to define your healing. You will have already moved on, already rebuilt, already become the man she never thought would stop coming back. That is the quiet triumph of this path. Not anger, not revenge, freedom. Freedom so deep it doesn't need to be announced. Freedom so powerful it speaks louder than any text you could send. Freedom that makes you untouchable, not because she can't reach you, but because you no longer need her to. So, brother, if these words strike something deep inside you, hold the line. Do not hand back the dignity you fought for. Do not trade your peace for a moment of weakness. You are standing at the threshold of a life built on self-respect and calm strength. Step fully into it. Brother, what you've just read is not a story about her. It's a map for you. Too many men spend years trapped in love that takes and never gives back. They argue, they apologize, they explain, they wait for change that never comes. I want you to see what most men never see. The loop isn't fate, it's a cage, and the key is always in your own hands. This journey I've shared is about reclaiming that key. It starts when you stop chasing what keeps hurting you. It grows when you choose silence, not as a weapon, but as a boundary. It strengthens when you endure the loneliness instead of running back. It transforms when you use that pain to build discipline, purpose, and self-respect. And it ends not with her regret, but with your freedom. The life lesson here is simple but powerful. Your worth is not proven by convincing someone to love you. It's proven by refusing to trade your dignity for attention. You can't control her actions, but you can control your own. And that control is where real strength lives. Brother, hold the line. Don't break silence to feed the past. Build yourself. Guard your peace. Walk forward. The man who masters his attachment becomes untouchable, not because no one can leave him, but because he no longer loses himself when they do. Like and subscribe to Stoic Station to keep building this quiet, immovable strength. Drop a 1 if you're holding silence to heal, or a 2 if tonight is the night you finally choose to step out of the losing game for good. Your silence isn't revenge, it's self-mastery. And self-mastery is the loudest message you will ever send.